background is I have 15 years of corporate experience. I have done some volunteer work also for past 10 years in with Sanskrit Bharati, as well as with an organization called Spirit, where we used to do research on human intuition. And at the same time, I was doing a little bit of mentoring, coaching, and I did not know ICF way of coaching. So whatever I was doing was intuitively whatever felt right. And when I came across this particular program and there is a structured way or method of doing it, that time I just decided to go for it. And that is how I came to Coacharya in 2022 beginning for my foundation course. I attended foundation course with Coacharya. And when I attended foundation course, that time I learned the structured way of coaching, learned about the competencies. And there I faced some of the things like some of the clients are not able to work on whatever they commit for. And I used to get intrigued that why is it so? Why is somebody not doing it? And one day my mentor Ramesh, I was with Priya Ramesh and Ramesh Sreedharan. So one day in ACC program itself, he spoke about the systemic lens and the importance of the systemic lens. So when he mentioned about that systemic lens, it looked like, yes, this is something which is going to provide answers to all my questions. Of course, I had that time, at the time of going for foundation course, it was more kind of a feedback from friends, whatever I read and I heard from people. However, in case of level 2 training, which was integrative systemic coaching for individuals as well as for teams, it was a decision based on my own experience. Coacharya was very, very supportive. Coacharya, not only the mentors, however, even the rest of the people with whom you interact for various reasons, they were very, very supportive. At the same time, I realized that the standard of the training imparted over there, the focus on practice, and the thing which I liked about Coacharya was they are very open-minded people. They open-mindedly look at Indian philosophies as well as Western sciences. So when I decided to go for systemic team coaching at level 2 for myself, it was a very, very informed decision. And it was a very, very decision based on my own experience. And that is how I decided to come to Coacharya and do my PCC training as well over there. What did I learn about myself? It was a journey, and it's a journey. There are some journeys which are worth remembering, worth cherishing. So this was definitely a journey of self-discovery. And I learned a lot about my values, my own beliefs, which I was holding unconsciously. I did not know about them. And I learned so much about them. So if I start talking about it, it might be a very, very long answer. But to restrict myself and say the most two important things, what I learned about myself is balance is something which is very, very important for me. Extremely important. And to achieve that balance, I go to any extent. And if that is the case, then how should I be treating myself? So I became more compassionate with myself. I felt sometimes in the past, I was too hard on myself. Now I became much more compassionate and I started listening to myself. I developed the courage. As I said, I was working on human intuition and I did some research on it. However, I did not have the courage to use it, trust it completely. But in this journey, I learned to trust myself. I learned to trust my intuition. I learned to trust my intuition for myself as well as for my client. And believe me or not, when still, I will say that there are some 10% of incidences when I do not completely trust and I say, okay, fine, I will not look at it. But when I trust it, it is the coaching session which I conduct is at a different level altogether. So it was a journey for me which traveled in the depths of myself. And if you ask me how my approach has changed or how my approach has evolved, so I will consider it as from the foundation course, since this was a level 2 course, how my approach changed. So to tell you briefly, in my foundation course, I started putting that structure in place for my coaching session. It was more of a conscious effort. And with the conscious efforts, being completely concentrating all the time on what is going to be the structure, whether that structure is right or not, I was not able to achieve the flow. So along with that structure in level 2, when I went into the depths, I gained the courage to go into the depths of clients who as well. That time I developed that courage to be with client, to flow together and within the structure. So that is how my coaching has evolved over a period of time. The coaching approach itself has changed. With the systemic lens, what has changed is with level 2 programs, as I said, it was divided into 2 parts. The one was purely focusing on individual coaching, though systemic lens was there. The other was systemic team coaching, or more of a systemic lens where you are concentrating on the environment, how that individual is interacting with somebody else. There are a lot of people, environmental things which you have to interact with. So the first part of the program, I will say, I learned to go deeper. With the flow and structure in place, I learned to go deeper into the who of the client. And with the second part, which is a systemic lens, I got the breadth of it. So I learned to zoom in and then zoom out and see the bigger picture. So that is how my coaching approach has completely evolved. Who I think will benefit is anybody who is considering coaching seriously, for individuals as well as somebody who is considering coaching in the organizations. In organizations, systemic team coaching is now a buzzword. And in organizations, if you have to work with teams, it becomes much easier, time effective, and even cheaper for that matter for organizations. If somebody is coaching their teams to achieve the objective or help them to achieve their desired objective. So somebody who is thinking of practicing it with individuals, practicing it with corporates, for teams, anybody who is serious about coaching, every one of them should be taking actually this particular program, must be undergoing this particular program. And somebody who is already considering this particular program, I will say just go for it. You don't have to think twice. It adds a lot of value to you as a person and to your practice as well. I am with Priya Ramesh and Ramesh Sreedharan from the time of foundation course. And as I said, when you asked me initial couple of questions, that I am with them from the foundation course. And I did my level 2 course, PCC course, along with integrative systemic team coaching with them only. So that itself speaks a volume about them, that I decided to stick with them after doing the foundation course. They are very supportive. At the same time, what I liked about them is they are very open and very patient. They give you enough information to understand the concept. They don't give you too much information and let you experiment. When you are experimenting with the concept or a new tool, or even with yourself, when you are experimenting with, they are very, very patiently watching you. And there is some kind of hand-holding which is there. You have a fallback arrangement that even if you fail in your experiments, with that, you gain that confidence. And whatever methods or the tools which you learn, they become yours. You have complete confidence on them. You don't learn to use the tool or use a method in a way somebody else is using. It is not told that this is how exactly you are supposed to use it. And that is something I just loved about them. They are definitely, and at Coacharya, I came across various other mentors as well, and all of them are very, very supportive. This is something which I found about Priya and Ramesh, that they are extremely patient when you are doing that experimentation and you are learning it for yourself. So because of them only, I learned to focus on my strengths and develop them. So they are, whenever they are mentoring, it's not so that you are not getting a feedback, or it is not a frank feedback or clean feedback, but the feedback is structured or told in such a way that I learned a lot about my strengths and I started focusing on them. At the same time, they are modeling themselves in front of us. So when they model themselves, it becomes much easier for us to learn. When you are in a role of a student, it becomes much easier to learn that way. Yeah, actually, Coacharya, I think, is an organization. See, I have not experienced other organizations. However, I have interacted with a lot of coaches. Once I started getting and building my practice and all, I have interacted with a lot of them. And I feel that the confidence Coacharya coaches carry is definitely something which is different and which anybody can see it very clearly, that that confidence is there. And that speaks volumes about Coacharya's training programs or the programs which are offered by them for the coaches. So definitely it is an organization which is built by various people, and each one of them, they are somehow aligned with each other. So I will say somebody who is willing to learn, willing to unlearn and learn, somebody who has open mind and wants to make a difference in the world, wants to make an impact, they must consider Coacharya.